Hi everyone! In my last video I stated that today, as I'm recording, which is Sunday in Japan, this is my last official day as a Warner Fellow. But I am actually here for 3 weeks instead of 2 weeks, which is normal for the Horner Fellowship, because I was planning on taking some personal time, but it turns out I'm going to be researching instead, which is totally okay with me. I love my research, it's super fun. So I think I'm going to keep making videos throughout this 3rd week, and I won't be able to talk in a lot of detail about a lot of them because all of the meetings this week are with activists, and pretty much all of them expressed that they would not like to have any information shared. So yeah, I'll just be kind of giving you a rundown of what I'm doing and why it's interesting, but mostly I was thinking it would be really cool, especially if anyone wants to visit Japan or if anyone is the next Horner Fellow, you can watch these videos and kind of I'll talk about some places I've been to and how to use trains and more like practical on the ground how to navigate the mega city that is Tokyo, because it is going on my 3rd week now and I'm just barely getting the hang of it. There are still little mistakes here and there, but like so much better than it was the first 2 weeks. So yeah, today was the end of my Horner Fellowship. So, my last video, I talked a little bit. Oh, sorry, my nose is very itchy. I talked a little bit about the weeks that I've been having, but also the fact that the fellowship, the Saturday and Sunday were supposed to be 2 free days. And I had only had 1 free day before that because I filled up all my free days with other interviews and other things for my project. So I was really excited to have some free time. But it turns out, as I mentioned in the last video, Super Typhoon Hagibis rolled in through Tokyo. Came in on Saturday and left early this morning, Sunday. So I haven't slept very much. I'm not feeling very well. I mentioned I've been having very bad migraines because of the typhoon. But yeah, so about noon or 1 today, which is Sunday, the train started to slowly kind of come back online, start working again, because all the tracks needed to be cleared and checked for safety. There's still some transportation that's down, but mostly like the local subway and stuff is running pretty well, although there were some pretty heavy delays this morning. So once those came back up, I went out and just kind of explored around a little bit. I went to forgetting where I'm going. The migraines kind of making it a little bit difficult for me to concentrate. Yeah, so I went to the Shibuya area again to go to a place called Tokyu Hands, which is, I think, 7 stories, and it's like a lifestyle home goods / stationery store. So if anyone knows me, y'all know that I love office supplies. I love office supplies so much. I love stationery. I love stamps. I love stickers. I really love stickers. I love notebooks. I love pens. All of it. I love it so, so much. So 6 floors of that. Yeah, it was really exciting. So sometimes when I get a little excited, I'm a very soft person. Sometimes things, well, I guess let's just be honest, like living in general is anxiety producing. But when I get really, really excited, I start having a little bit of a hard time. I'll start like sweating a little bit and my ears will start ringing. And so I was getting so excited in Tokyo hands that I had to like stop every floor and just like I have breathing exercises, biofeedback that I do. So I had to I had to do some breathing exercises because I got so excited that they were like pens and paper. uh, but also, to be fair to myself, today wasn't a very warm day, and I was wearing a very, very light, kind of breezy shirt because it was more comfortable, and I like to be comfortable when I have migraines and am out. But I know I was sweating really bad. I kept getting like hot flashes while I was in Tokyo hands. And at first I just thought like it's the really high humidity and maybe it's a little bit warm or something like that. Um, so I didn't stay there as long as I would have liked because that's the second place I went. I was somewhere else before that. Oh, I'm spacing. Not Akihabara, but the different version of that something something street. My brain. Okay. Anyway, I was getting like really warm and kind of feeling not great. And then I left because it's a very big store. It's so big. And I left and I went to go eat at this really awesome, like super, super cool basement level, like American style cafe with souffle pancakes. So this is like one of the staple desserts of Japan. They're these really, really thick, like fluffy, lovely pancakes that are a dessert. Oh, they are so good. And this place is new and have some of like the fluffiest souffle pancakes, and I had them and fried chicken. It was so good. Their fried chicken was amazing. And the bathroom of the place like was a fake bookcase. Like you push the bookcase in and then it becomes a bathroom. It was so cool. I can look up the name in just a minute. But the reason I'm having trouble like remembering things and am a little more like muted in this video is because while I was eating, I kind of came to this realization. I feel like I've lived long enough that I'm pretty in tune with what my body is doing most of the time. And so as I was eating these like really lovely souffle pancakes, I can pick up on like not feeling well pretty quickly. So I was eating and eating and I was perfectly fine, and then all of a sudden I got like a little hot flash or something, and I was like, oh no, something is wrong. um, and so immediately I was like, I need to go. There's something wrong. I don't know what it is, but there's something wrong. And so then I tried to move and I had like bad vertigo and I was really dizzy and I was like, oh, I know exactly what this is. So it turns out when I'm like really ill and I know it and it is like an emergency, my Japanese and or ability to communicate gets like heightened. And I think it's because it replaces my anxiety, right? So I can't have that many emotions all at the same time. I can, but like it'll be a total breakdown. It'll be a completely different situation. So like an emergency, panic replaced anxiety, and so, and so I was just like, and like communicated. um. Anyway, and so I got out of there, and I still had to take a train ride home. But long story short, long story long, in that moment I realized, oh no, this is food poisoning. So I get food poisoning at least once a year because I am well, I'm known to eat very questionable things, and there's nothing questionable in Japan. Even the street food is so wonderful. It is so good and so delicious. Um, Actually, it could be that yakitori that I ate in Kyoto. No, I think that'll be too long. It was a little undercooked, but it was delicious anyway, and I ate it all. But yeah, so when I got that little like flash of not feeling well at the cafe, I was like, uh-oh. So I'm 90% sure that probably in about 2.5 hours I'm going to start very violently vomiting. Which is a bummer because I really enjoyed those souffle pancakes. I don't want them to go away, but I have a very high fever and I'm still sweating, and it's food poisoning or something very, very similar. It's an indication usually that I'm going to have the vomits. The vomits pretty bad, yeah. So I can't like stop sweating. It's not good. So as I was sitting there, like everything the entire day made sense while I was eating those very lovely souffle pancakes. I still enjoyed the place. It was great. I would do it again. But I sat there, and in that moment I was like, oh no. Oh no, I know exactly what I ate that's causing this. I know exactly why I was getting warm in Tokyu hands. Which is such a bummer. I had other things planned for my night. It's still fairly early. It's like 8 o'clock. And Shibuya is like a really late night city. I was gonna go to do a couple other things. And then I like kind of started walking towards another thing. I was like, nope, nope, no, this is a mistake. Oh no. So, such a bummer. Goodbye, souffle pancakes. I would do it again. But I'm pretty sure what made me sick is this steamed bun I bought a couple days ago. It was pizza flavored. And it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. Of every single thing I've eaten on this trip, that's the one thing I would say would not be worth vomiting for. I'm so sad. Really sad that that was the thing. But the reason it made me sick is because this is my fault. This happens all the time. I do not like to waste food. I will eat anything left in the fridge for a very concerning amount of time because it's just so hard for me to waste food. I really don't like it. Which isn't to say that I don't, but so I ate like a couple bites of it and then I put it back in the fridge, and the fridge is not very good. It is not a good tiny little fridge. It actually keeps the food like kind of lukewarm. And I also had an egg salad sandwich that was in there for a day too. But anyway, the steamed bun was actually in there for maybe 3 days. So I ate that, and then the lukewarm egg salad. The egg salad was delicious, though. It was very good. But anyway, I think maybe that pizza steamed bun might have its revenge for me not savoring it while it was still warm and putting it back in the fridge. Anyway, yeah, oh man, I have such a fever. So I'm sad that I'm gonna get sick. Hopefully it goes away by tomorrow so that I can go out and do more stuff. I was going to go to another place called Team Lab Borderless tomorrow, which is like an interactive art installation that was just put in like a little less than a year ago, I think. It's supposed to be really awesome. Hopefully I'm feeling good enough for that. And I also still have my migraine, so yeah, this is a bummer. And last night I didn't get any sleep because of the super typhoon, which, to be perfectly honest, was absolutely terrifying. I cannot even explain how terrifying it was. And add to that, as soon as the typhoon made landfall at about 9 p.m. my time, there was an earthquake. It was about a 6 magnitude earthquake. So, I've never experienced a typhoon before, and because I'm from Arizona, I've never experienced an earthquake before. And I'm on the top floor of this very tall hotel, so the higher floors you go up, the stronger an earthquake feels. Because, higher it has to travel a little bit more. Not really, it's a lot more scientific than that, but yeah, so just like my first day out and going to Shinjuku Station, which is the busiest station, in the grand tradition of me, I just like to experience everything all at the same time and just rip the band-aid off and get it out of the way. So, earthquake, super typhoon. Oh my goodness. I was so stressed. So stressed. Yeah, I didn't cry. I think I got past the point of being so scared I wanted to cry. It was just pure terror. So I was I made a little emergency bag and everything, and so I was clutching my bag in the bathroom, it was not a good night. It was very terrible. And so what I experienced wasn't nearly as bad or close to as bad as what a lot of people experienced, especially in Shizuoka, which is where it primarily made landfall, and Chiba Prefecture, which was hit by a previous typhoon, still unrecovered. So there was a lot of damage, injuries, some loss of life. It was bad. It was a really bad typhoon, but I'm in the middle of Tokyo, so I was very well protected. So on a slight hill near the Imperial Palace, and there's really tall buildings around me, so I was shielded from pretty much everything. So this isn't to diminish anyone else's very real experience, but just kind of a way to say that everything is relative, and I'm only speaking from my experience. So relative to me, a pure desert dweller, purely desert, no natural disasters outside of extreme heat, and then dust storms. Are those even natural disasters? They're just dusty. It's fine. Yeah, it was. I can't even begin to explain the deep, deep terror that I felt. So deep. Yeah, it was really scary. I did get a couple videos. I got videos of sirens, the warning sirens going off as the typhoon approached, and then also the sound of the wind rattling the windows, which was really, God, it was so scary. It was terrifying. And this hotel room was very small. It's all window and then my bed, which rolls. It was so scary. And on top of the earthquake, the wind was so strong, it was making the building sway. Anyway, I'm gonna need some therapy when I get back for that. Yeah, it was difficult. I'm very, very soft and gentle. It would have been better if I had a friend, an emotional support friend or animal here. It would have been a lot easier, but since I was by myself and the time difference was so much, it was just very scary and isolating. But one of the interpreters I've been working with, he's such a deeply caring person. He's so caring. He's the one that gave me the persimmons and all the other super lovely things. Oh, I love him. He called me on the hotel phone. He called the front desk and he asked them what the evacuation procedures were, if they had emergency rations, if everything was okay, if they could check on me. And oh, and then the call was forwarded to me. Yeah, forwarded to me. And he was like, Michelle-san, I wanted to call and make sure you're okay. I want to see if you have food. I want to let you know that it'll be okay and this is a procedure. It was so sweet. He was so worried, and he's like, even though I'm very far away, I'm calling everybody else to let them know that if you need help, to come and get you. He was so caring, and he did say, and I had a feeling that this was the case, that because people in Japan are so used to typhoons, they, will sometimes, they're just used to it. They're like, it's another typhoon. It'll be okay. So he was like, yeah, this is a little bit worse than I thought it would be. And I was like, no, don't say that. Don't say it. Just say it's totally normal. But it wasn't. It was a super typhoon. A super typhoon. And an earthquake. But it was so sweet. He called and it made me feel so much better. And then he asked the staff if they could prepare me a snack and bring it up to me. And they did. They brought me a snack. It was so sweet. He's so sweet. I'm gonna cherish that snack forever. It was like a raisin bread. Oh, I love him so much. He's wonderful. Anyway, so it was like a little bit of sunshine and a big old typhoon. Yeah, so typhoon just happened, which means that 2 of my personal days are out from the typhoon. I mean, they weren't a total wash. I guess I learned. I've grown as a person. I survived a typhoon, and now I understand. This was a learning experience that I don't particularly wish to repeat. But so there's that. A lot of learning going on this trip. So typhoon, 2 personal days down, and maybe a personal day down tomorrow and half of a day today because I chose to eat a very old pizza steamed bun. And now I'm going to be very sick. So that's a bummer. But let me look up the other places I went real quick. Actually, they aren't on my phone. So that way, if any of you do come and visit, you can kind of check out some of the places I went to because they were really awesome. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. Okay. Nakano Broadway. Yeah, Nakano Broadway. So, Akihabara is very well known as like the anime otaku mecca of Japan, or at least it was. A lot of people consider it kind of a tourist trap now, and it is very expensive, super, super expensive. But there in Nakano, which is another city, there's another street which is really pretty. I took a picture of it and put it on the Instagram. A street that is also like a couple story, 5 or 6 stories or something, mall type thing, that is really awesome for anime and collectible figurines and manga and all sorts of stuff. So I decided to go there to try to find some souvenirs for everyone back home, like my little brother and a few people at work and stuff like that. And then also see if there was anything cool for me or some of my best friends. There was a lot of stuff. It was really, really cool. It was very interesting. So there was a bunch of anime and manga and the gacha games and stuff. But there was also a ton of vintage things. And some of it was like anime vintage, but a lot of it was American vintage stuff. And this is a little dorky, but there's a shop there that was so cool. I really liked it. It had a whole bunch of t-shirts, but t-shirts that had like like movie stuff on it, but only American movies and only like some really good sci-fi movies. Kind of like the very first video I made with like Nyaz and a couple of the other postcards I found. It was like that, but with movies. There's like Terminator, Escape from LA, just like a whole bunch of stuff that was really cool. But they were modeled after the Japanese movie posters, or they were just like totally original pieces. And I say that because as I was going through the store, I was thinking, I don't know if they got the appropriate rights to be able to reproduce these. Anyway, as a librarian going through like a store in Japan, probably a lot of copyright in that store, a lot of copyright issues. But the shirts were so cool. They were really cool. If they weren't so expensive, I think I would have got some. I really liked them. Especially the Terminator one. The Terminator one was really cool. And there was a Back to the Future one, too. Anyway, so that store was cool. And there were also like vintage toy stores. So they're, first of all, Minions are very, very popular in Japan. You might have known this already, but they are so popular. They're everywhere. Minions are everywhere. Minions and Snoopy everywhere. Okay, but this isn't about Minions. This is about other rando American things that are for some reason super popular in Japan. And one of them is Home Alone. The movies. Home Alone. Home Alone is so popular. In one of the vintage toy stores, I took a picture of it, and it's on like the Nakano, all the Nakano photos. There are like a whole bunch of Home Alone toys and like this Macaulay Culkin like Cabbage Patch looking doll. It's so interesting. There and like a lot of other what you would never expect to see, like very strange, sometimes mildly offensive, like figurines and like little artifacts from like bad American movies. Not to say Home Alone is bad. I love Home Alone. But yeah, it was very interesting. So that was that. Lots of other cool things. If any of you really enjoy Studio Ghibli, there's an entire shop there that just has Studio Ghibli stuff because it is really hard to get into the Ghibli Museum. One of my biggest regrets is that I didn't think I would have time, so I didn't get tickets. And then by the time I was like, oh, they did plan time for me to do stuff, the tickets were already sold out, so I can't go to the Studio Ghibli Museum, which is so depressing. I'm so sad about it. I love Studio Ghibli so much, and now I can't go. I'm like really, really sad about it. But the store does sell a lot of the licensed Studio Ghibli things that you can also get in the museum. The museum does have things that you cannot get anywhere else, which I will never get now. But if you aren't able to go to the Studio Ghibli Museum, or if you just want some cheaper Ghibli merch, you can go to Nakano Broadway. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and I've mentioned this before. If you go into the basement level of pretty much all shopping areas, that's always where all the food is. So if you're having a hard time finding food, always go to the basement. There's always a bunch of food there. So the basement of this place is this really well-known ice cream shop. I forget what it's called, but it's well-known because it makes these like super tall ice creams that are like rainbow, and it has like 8 different flavors, and it's really, really tall. It looks so cool. I didn't get that. I just got a little tiny green tea one because it was also Hokkaido ice cream. So Hokkaido, which is in northern Japan, is very well known for their cows and for their milk. So it's super creamy, very lovely Hokkaido, awesome tall ice cream in the basement level of Nakano Broadway. So that's where I started off my day, but didn't start off until like 2 or so because the trains were barely running then. And then I went to Shibuya, I went to Tokyu Hands. I was gonna go to a couple other places. I went to the souffle place. That was hard to say. Souffle place. Yeah, I said it right. Just sounds interesting. And that's where I had my realization that I'm probably super ill. If it turns out I don't get sick, Shibuya, there's a lot of 24-hour things there. I might go back, especially since it's going to be rainy tomorrow. We'll see, which kind of cuts down on some of the things that I can do. Yeah. Oh, and I posted pictures of the souffle place. I like saying that now that I went to. It's called Espresso D Works, and it's in the basement of the place. It's so cool, like actually really cool. Very, very legitimately cool vibes. Like the bookcase swings open, and they play really, really good music too. And it's decorated really nice. Yeah, just overall quite good. Wish I didn't almost like vomit while I was there and then have to leave suddenly. Oh well, these things happen. Anyway, what else happened today? Talked about how the typhoon was absolutely terrifying and I never want to experience that again, and yet have learned so much. I'm a changed person. I don't know if you could hear that just now, but the person next to me, I told you all before that walls here are very, very thin, which is why I usually talk a little bit softer. Anyway, the person next to me is a very loud sneezer, which is absolutely okay. But again, I'm such a sensitive person. So every time he sneezes, it scares the crap out of me. It scares me so bad. And so yesterday, when my anxiety was like infinitely high, he would like sneeze. It was just like, it was a whole thing. It was so terrible. Anyway, okay, so talked about the typhoon. It was bad. I highly recommend looking at the news about it. It's the worst one they had in like 50 or 60 years. There was like the warnings just kept coming and coming and coming, and there were horrible floods. Oh my goodness. Oh. Anyway, typhoon. I am going to be very sick in about an hour and a half, and this is technically my second real free day because the other ones were knocked out by a typhoon and then by me scheduling some stuff. So second free day. Success. Trains were really easy. Ordering food was really easy. Third week, like with anything, I said it on the first couple days, like you really do start to get used to it here and it becomes way easier to navigate. Trains aren't a problem, big stations aren't a problem, there's little things that happen here or there, but otherwise everything's pretty good. So just know if you're feeling anxiety, if you're the next Horner Fellow, or if you visit when you get here, everything will be okay. There was a super typhoon and I am okay. So everything's gonna be okay. Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say something else. What was it? It's gone now. It's gone. Anyway. Oh, I got a whole bunch of stuff to bring back for everyone. But I can't show it again because I got it duty free, and so it's in the bag. But anyway, I'm really excited to bring back presents for everyone. It was really expensive, but that's okay. It's worth it. I want everyone to get to experience it a little bit. Totally worth it. Yeah. It's the only thing I'm spending my personal money on is food, which I'm now going to throw up, so that's a waste of money. Oh. Anyway, I'm starting to sweat real bad again, so I'm gonna go lay down next to a trash can. Thank you all for listening to me talk about my fragile constitution and my day. And I will see you all soon, and I think less than a week. I'm really excited to see you all, to bring you presents, and I hope everything is going well for you. Okay, I'll let you know how tomorrow goes. I'll upload more videos about things. Okay, bye, 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 goodbye.